G'day, punters. We're back for another episode of The Wayne. I'm joined by my co-host in Luke Marlowe. How was the weekend for you, Luke? Did you back any winners?
Yeah, it was okay. Thanks, PJ. Hi to you. Hi, everyone. Managed to win something small on the day. My best bets got rolled, so I was pretty happy to finish in front. I thought Kembla played really well. Definitely on the better side of the rating, I reckon. Track certainly raced in good order, and I thought it was a good competitive meeting.
Yeah, it was a soft 7, no upgrade, and I agree, it raced really well. I was in a bit of trouble until the last race. I had something small on Andermatt, or not Andermatt, sorry, the other Godolphin one. Cordia to win the last. Got out to good odds, and I had it in the quaddy too, so got out of trouble in the last. Don't you love when you do that?
Done. Yeah, good stuff, mate. Yeah, it was well found. Well found.
Let's get stuck in, and we'll find out what you backed along the way. The first race was Class 2 highway over 1,400 metres. Proposer Toast was $5 out to $7 on the day. It was the best backed runner in the race. Wednesday they opened up $15 into $7. Haven, a little bit of money around, $15 into $12, and Emma's Gift hovered around $15 for most of the day. Proposer Toast went forward and too good for them, Luke.
Yep, exactly right. It was too good for them. Went to the front, was a good, tough win. The horse had a few issues. He bled last preparation, came back. First up, he was acceptable, and this was his second up run, Proposer Toast. So, look, you got to say, good training effort from Ron Weston and John Nisbet. This horse used to be trained by Neville Late, the late Neville Late. And it was good to see him win for Connections, second up off that bleed. He got the nice run in front. He mapped to sort of get control of the race. So he wasn't impossible to back. I've barred the highways until further notice. I'm not betting in them for a little while. I'm just legless in them. I
find them difficult too, and especially that Acton form. That Acton form's very difficult to line up. So I definitely missed it.
So yeah, look, he won well. I thought there were some good runs in the race. This Kelvedon Road, it came from a mile back and hit the line quite well. It's a lightly raced country horse with some talent that will win again. I think you've got to be a bit forgiving of the favourite, the Storm in Me, if you backed it. Did too much work, 1,400 metres. I don't think it quite run that out. It could have a spell and come back and win more races.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Lightly raced and looked to have ability before that. So be forgiving. Nothing I really want to follow out of the race. So happy to move on to the second, Luke, the Midway.
Yep, happy.
Let's do it. The second race was the Midway, as I said, benchmark 72 over 1,300 metres. There was only one 1,300 on the day. Rosehill was $1.90. The market took a set against him, and he started $2.70 on the day. Oxford Tycoon, well supported and very stiff, $18 into $10. Either or was a bit of specking about for him, $23 into $15. Obvious Step probably was the best supported runner in the race, $34 into $12. Talk us through Oxford Tycoon, Luke. He looked to be very stiff.
Was he right? Should have won by the length of the straight, Oxford Tycoon. I had a pretty good bet on Rosehill here. And I don't condone crime in any way, shape or form, but I feel like after this race, I got the feeling that this is what it'd feel like to get away with, petty theft or stealing off your mother or fraud or, something along those lines, because you never feel guilty for backing a winner. But I tell you what, I felt lucky to back a winner in Rosehill in this race. Oxford Tycoon clearly should have beat him. He was badly pocketed. He's a horse I'd be interested in backing next start in a Midway. Just on the back of this performance, he went really well. Rosehill was good. He was 6 weeks between runs. He will strip fitter. I think he wants further and maybe a colder ride. But J-Mac put him in the gun spot, and he's just a freak at getting them over the line first, isn't he?
Yeah, what are you doing with Midway form moving forward? Because I'm not sure about it coming out of Midways. Like, is it as strong? Are you taking a benchmark 72 Midway and equaling it with another benchmark 72? I know you got to take each race on accordance, but
I reckon it's good for midway form's good for midways. So if you've run well in a midway, I think you're there to run well again. But taking it up in class, I think, is difficult to do, because what we've typically seen in these races, because of the benchmark being a 72, other than this exception, Royal Zell, and why I was so keen on him, you're not typically getting these lightly raced, improving horses that haven't reached their top. You're more getting those horses that have won a few races now, they've had 20-odd starts, they've shown their hand, and they're not going too much further in life. And it's a great race for them to chip around in and be competitive. So I think they're, although they're on a Saturday, I think they're somewhere between like a midweek metropolitan race and provincial grade is where I'm
I'd tend to agree. I think midweek benchmark form is pretty good for a midway. And it seems that there's in regards to like benchmark races on a Saturday, there seemingly is a little bit more between the midway horses, like the top midway horses to the bottom midway horses in a race, comparatively to another benchmark race on the day. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I reckon that's pretty fair. I mean, I haven't looked into it too deeply, but when's the last time we had a horse that had only had 6 runs in a midway? Have we seen one?
Oh, I'm not sure that we have.
Yeah,
he'd be the only horse coming out of a black type race. Well, we've had a bit of black type form in the midways, but he's coming off a black type win at Flemington. He looked really well placed. So good bet. Did you butter up when you got out to $2.70?
Well, yeah, that's why I felt guilty afterwards, because I kept going when he got out a little bit late. I bet pretty early, and I went again. I went for a second bite, and yeah, felt very fortunate, and it was a good start to the day.
Yeah, well, I'd say don't feel fortunate, because we have our fair share of horses on the other side of the scale. So don't worry about that. But we'll move on. I thought this was just about the win of the day. Race 3, benchmark 78 fillies and mares, 1,500 metres. They went 3 lengths slower than the 78 won by Cordia later in the day. Signora Nera, $17 into $10. Sentimental, $9.50 into $6. Steel Diamond hovered about $4.20 for most of the day. Best back runner, maybe Signora Nera, and sprinted very fast to win, Luke.
Yeah, sprinted awesome. Come back in great order. I think she beat a weak field, but she can go on, this mare. I think she's a mare that will get up over 2,000 metres. She's really tough. She had 12 runs in her last preparation, and she's in a great stable with Chris Waller. Chris said after the race that he does think she's a staying prospect. So it's going to be very interesting where they place her next start. I want to back a horse that got beat 8 lengths here at his next run. Celestial Falls had a torrid run. First up off 441 days, 3 wide, punching the breeze. Was just in no man's land. And she can strip fitter for this, and in the right race, improve sharply.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't believe it. I put one horse in my black book, and it was Celestial Falls. I think she had a very tough run. 3 deep on the speed.
You're a good judge.
Yeah, and as you said, 441 days, she can definitely improve. But anything else out of the race?
I don't think so. I think Winner and Celestial Falls, and the rest are never to be backed again.
Yeah, I would be touch forgiving of Steel Diamond. She should have run a clear second. Probably needed room a touch sooner, but I'm not sure that I want to back her into anything else other than a similar race. But
she can win again, but she's just never a horse I'd be excited to back. I think she's pretty exposed now.
Hopefully they miss Celestial Falls next start. So hopefully we're on a. Hopefully they go up 10 to 15 to 1 next start, and we can have a little nibble. But she's the one to follow for me as well. The fourth race was a benchmark 78 over 2,000 metres. They went 8.5 lengths slower than the Premier's Cup, won by Harpo Marks. Our intrigue was $31 and just specced a little bit into $26. Offshore, 9 into $6.50 on the 7-day backup. He was terrific on the speed. Mankayan make up plenty of ground, $3.40 out to $3.90. Best back runner, probably one more Sapphire, 17 into 9. How did they let the J-Mac and Chris Waller combination go around at $26 here, Luke?
Well, the fact she looked like she broke down last start might have had something to do with it, but
maybe.
It was a great training effort. She'd had the trial. there was in the stewards report. It just said at a most recent run where she was beaten 13 lengths, and she did look like she broke down to me. It just said in the stewards report, Jock reported race done genuinely. She was hampered at the 200 meters mark, dropped out quite badly. But what the point you're making is a valid one. You don't see J-Mac go around on a $26 chance too often.
Never. I'd just about say never.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially trained by Chris Waller.
She turned the corner. Offshore was great on a 3-day backup. His run was super. Just knocked off by a good one. I say good one, but she's a relatively promising mare in Australia, I'd suggest. And Mankayan, the third horse, I think once he gets up to 1.5 miles, it'd be very hard to beat. He's a nice staying horse.
Yeah, I wrote down some sectionals here, actually. There were some good closes in this race. Great House closed well as well. He closed his last 600 metres in the fastest of the race, 34.72, and Mankayan, second fastest in the race, 34.77. So outside the winner, who was the third fastest closer in 34.85, they were the only three to break 35 in their last 600 metres. So I thought Great House was one that we could possibly be missed by the market at his next start.
Jamara was eased out of the race at about the 800. She was 4 out of 5 lame. So she had an excuse. Something was amiss there.
Yeah, we'll definitely be forgiving of her. The fifth race was the first of our feature races, the Group 3 Min Dynasty over 1,400 metres. They went 12 lengths faster than the highway one by Proposer Toast. Coast Watch wasn't really well liked by the market, $3 out to $3.70 on the day. Military Expert, $5.50 into $5. Subterranean was an interesting move, $5 out to $6.50. He was the one that I thought was going to be well supported in the race. Best back was Chilled, $21 into $12. Dark Rebel, $26 into $13. Stable have got a big opinion of this horse, Coast Watch, Luke.
Yeah, they do, being touted as possibly a Doncaster horse in the autumn. So I found that interesting. He got the perfect run and was simply too good. It must be said. Military Expert was good, stepping up to 1,400 metres. I think the horse that you could follow out of the race is Dark Rebel. If he goes back to, say, a provincial race or something like that, I know he's won a midweek maiden, but he's only a Class 1 horse. Ed Cummings trains him. If he finds a provincial race over a bit of ground, that mile sort of range, I'd be very interested in having a bet on him. He did a lot wrong. He missed the start, but I think he didn't shirk the task, and he was first up off an 11-week let up with no trial. So I think he's got improvement.
Yeah, well, we're very much so on the same page. He's my horse, the one horse that I black booked out of the race, Dark Rebel. Slow away. And he didn't. He found the line, and he was sort of half in limited room in stages. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you. He's going to be better getting out to further. But do you want to take any of these horses other than the winner out, like, to better races in their 3-year-old season?
Definitely not at this stage. I think, outside the winner, Military Expert doesn't want much further. Subterranean was very plain.
He was given a perfect ride by Huey as well from the awkward draw.
Arne Kerr, he might go to a race before a spring champion, the 4th horse, but I think he'll be outclassed. I think these are your, second, third stringers as far as the better races.
And I tend to agree. I think the stable have got a big opinion of the winner, so we'll be very respectful of that moving forward. But outside of him, I don't really want to be going with too much, going into better races anyway. That's about their class, I'd suggest. Moving on to the San Domenico, the feature race of the day, the Group 3 over 1,100 metres in the Congo. Spec $9 into $7.50. He was unlucky last start and got the job done. Paul Lell, $2.45 into $1.90. I know you had something on him, Luke, so you can have a comment on him. Captivant, $21 into $15. The Drift was staying inside, $2.70 out to $3.20. What'd you make of the Golden Slipper winner, Luke?
I thought he got the pass mark, Blake. Reckon he'll improve. fitness wise. I mean, between the 400 and the 200, he's run the best split in that period of the race. He's run a 10.82. Then he's come home in 11.76. It appears that he's got very tired. But as I said, pass mark, he needs to improve. But you can't sack him off one run. I'd like to see him again to pass judgment, but I was opposed to him here and back Paul Learley. I think he's run a good race in the Congo, just a little bit too tough for him on speed. He had excuses last start in that run to the Rose where he was held up, so he was not impossible to find. I didn't find him on our Friday preview show on radio with remarks still in the race. I was more tunnel vision and blinkers on towards Paul Learley, but maybe should have had a saver on the winner. Got beat. That's punting. I think he's run a good race, Paul Learley, and he might just want that real firm, good four sort of track to be at his best. But I think he was a rock solid run. There you go.
Yep, I reckon you hit the nail. It's right on the head with staying inside. I think he just knocked up. He learned to win and just got tired in that last furlong. I thought, I don't even know how you say him. The Casey Fogden horse, Mouth Tie. I thought it was a good run. It was slow to begin, had to work to sit outside the lead, and was still there fighting out the finish. So if they come back a notch with him, I'd suggest that he can win a race very soon. Somebody had, I think, 15,000 on Enemo to win the Golden Rose after the running of this race. So they might not be thinking that these horses are up to Enemo's level moving forward. What would be your comment on that?
So, look, with Enemo, he's had the setback. He had a little virus, but he's trialling this week, I think. I love him as a horse, and I think if he's well, he can win the Golden Rose for sure. I did read today and hear on some commentary that Artorias could be coming for the Golden Rose to Sydney. And
I read that too. He was good, wasn't he?
I think he could be the Guineas winner, Artorias. That was a brilliant return. And if he comes to the Golden Rose and Anamo's there, along with these horses, it's going to be a ripping race. But I just reckon Paul Learley won't be there. He's a sprinter. I don't think he's a 1,400-metre horse. Stay inside, 1,400, I've got my doubts. So, yeah, I'd be more inclined to gravitate towards your Anamos and Artorias in that race. And then there's Converge as well, who's trialling up extremely well and is flying for the Waterhouse Botyard. So it's shaping as a pretty good race.
Yeah, it's mouth-watering. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a cracking race. Moving on, though, we'll move to the Premier's Cup. Premier's Cup, 2,000 metres, 8.78 lengths faster than the 78 won by our Intrigue. Late scratching was Hunter Puissance. Harpo Marx was hanging around about $4.20 for most of the day. He did a good job rising from 78 grade to listed grade. Spirit Ridge, $4.20 out to $5, and In the Lock was $9 out to 10. He was the best back runner, 26 into 10 from Wednesday. What do you make of the winner, Luke? Good win, and Rachel King back in the winner store.
Yeah, good to see for Rachel. Had that fall. Is it a week or 2 weeks ago now, the Wink Stakes? A week, I think. And that was no good, but he is just flying, Harpo Marx. I think he'll probably go towards a race like the Newcastle Cup and maybe even a Metrop. And if he gets wet ground in those races, he can be effective. He certainly excels in the heavy. There was a real slowdown in this race, just looking at the sectionals. Between sort of the 1,400 and the 1,000, they really sort of slowed up, and then they kicked and really started to roll down the side, and it made it a bit of a dash home. But he had a pretty good sprint. Harpo Marx, he's come home in the quickest last 200 of the race, 11.64. No Compromise wasn't a bad run. His sectionals were okay. Luncies could go to a Newcastle Cup third up and peak, I think, and be competitive there. But, these are your staying horses that are much of a muchness. There's no real standout. It comes down to weights and who gets the right sort of run to turn up the winner. But I think Luncies, although just a sound run here. He's only been beaten 2 lengths, and I think he's got the most scope to maybe find another length or two going forward.
Yeah, there's Chris Lees too. Surely he'll be setting him for a Newcastle Cup. Did Mugger win the Newcastle Cup last year?
Yeah,
Chris?
he did. That was Chris's first.
I think it's in Friday fortnight. I'm just looking at so the 17th of September the Newcastle Cup is. So a couple of weeks away, but it's shaping up as a good race.
Well, if that stays in the outer jockey zone, which you'd think it would, Alicia's going to ride Luncies.
Oh, that's good.
I call it on Luncies. So maybe I'm thinking with my heart a bit, willing him home in the race already. But I do reckon he's there to peak. They assure me that he's not screwed down yet. So let's wait and see.
Luncies, yeah. Well, he improved. Last prep he improved second up. He's going to be third up.
Yeah.
I'd suggest him. Maybe he's been a little bit soft on him in this Kembla race because he's going to peak in 3 at his third run this time in. So he might have that little bit more improvement. He wanted to get 2 runs under his belt before he had 3 weeks into the grand final. So
exactly.
Chris Lees is on it. Moving on, nothing I really want to follow out of the race other than Luncies. I can see where you're coming from there, and I hope for Alicia's sake that she can win a Newcastle Gold Cup. That'd be nice for her. The 8th race was a benchmark 88 over 1,200 metres. There was only one 1,200 on the day. Madam Legend was 8 into 650. AAA 7 into 6. Zakat 950 into $7. Best back runner was probably Peyton Place, who opened up $26 and started $12 on the day. Good training effort here by Les Bridge. Luke dropping her back from 1,400 metres to 1,200 metres.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And she's just a really genuine mare, Madam Legend. Third up here, getting the job done. And she was well ridden, put in the right sort of spot and got the job done. Brock Ryan on board, riding well. She had the lightweight. These are your typical benchmark 88 horses. I don't think any are sort of going to excel beyond this. Do think Prompt Prodigy got a pass mark down on the inside there, resuming off a Queensland preparation. I thought she was okay on the line and she could improve over a little bit further. So as far as horses to follow, the roughie of the field, Prompt Prodigy, is the only one that has any sort of minor interest for me.
Yeah, agreed. I actually had something small, very, very small on him at big odds, but I thought he was okay as well, and he's definitely 1,200 metres is much short of his best.
Yes, a mare. There you go. That's how good I'm going.
Yes. He's I think he ran second in the
Tulloch Stallion.
Stallion. Yeah, he's a horse, mate.
Yeah, he's still got
the nuts.
He's a horse. He's a big boy. Good on him.
Yeah, well, he can definitely improve getting out in trip, I'd suggest. Happy to move on to the last Ruby boy?
Yeah, I will.
Go on. What are you going to tell me? What are you going to tell me?
No, I was just going to say our puppy got the snip this week. Poor Frank.
Oh, poor Franco.
And gee, I had some
lost 2 stone.
I had some regret. He did, yeah. He needs to. He's quite thick. I had some regret because he was just sulking so badly, as you would be, on the back of the ultimate gear change. But he's not for breeding purposes.
So that's the perfect segue into Andermatt, mate.
Yes.
Race 9 was a benchmark 78 over 1,000 metres, and Andermatt had the ultimate gear change, and he was too good for them. $2.90 into $2.80. Opened up $4.40 on Wednesday. Hulk was very good, $14 into $10. He's forever an unlucky runner. Glen Eagles third, $9 into $11. What did you make of Andermatt here, Luke?
I thought he was good. Blake. He was heavily backed. Perfect ride from J-Mac. And he was quite dominant, wasn't he? The way he put the field away. I backed Hulk each way here. I just knew Huey would suit this horse. He gave him a perfect ride, just stalking the favourite. It just wasn't quite good enough to sprint past him in the straight. But he's an honest horse and did run well. I think Majestic shot. It just didn't work going forward. She was forced to cover ground wide. I think she's a better mare, just with a sit. in behind. I know she's one leading, but I'd love to just see her ridden that little bit colder and use her dynamic turn of foot. So I'd be interested in backing her under the right circumstance.
Yeah, me too. I think she was travelling really good at the top of the straight. I was half thinking how far here, but she half knocked up after a little bit of a tough run, 3 deep on the speed. And I thought on the lead was okay late. He was doing his best work across the line.
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he? The line
Yeah,
hard.
and he was gelded as well, same as Frank.
Yeah, poor Frank. God.
Poor Frank. Poor Frank, poor on the lead and poor Andermatt. But it's done the job for Andermatt, so maybe it'll do the job for little Frankie boy. The last race of the day was a benchmark 78 over 1,500 metres. They went 3 lengths faster than the other 78 on the day, won by Signora Nero. Cordia was $16 out to $21. Plenty of money for Yee here, $4 into $3.60. Kingshear hovered around $4. Bunch finish here, Luke. What did you make of the race?
Well found by you, firstly, with the winner, Cordia. Yeah, he hadn't won for a little while, but that was his race. He just came charging down the middle. I had something on Yee. I was very happy with myself in the run. I thought the whole way up the straight he was going to win, and he just found one better. For me, another race where a lot of these horses, I'm just not sure how much upside they've got. King's Air seemed to have his chance, and he'd be fitter now going into a race third up. But yeah, not a race I'm too hot on, to be honest.
Yeah, me either. I thought one horse from the Bjorn Baker stable could be followed. I thought Kiss the Bride was good. 3 deep at the back and was doing his best work late. So getting out in trip, I think that's his second run back from a spell. Third up, he should be at his peak over 1,800 metres or 2,000 metres, and he's going to be hard to beat. But nothing outside of him that I want to follow. Anything else to add for that race?
No, mate.
What's your horse to follow out of the meeting?
I reckon Signora Nera could win a game. So I'll just give you her, Signora Nera, out of race number 3.
Yeah, and that's fair enough too. I'd suggest that she can probably, she might be able to win a black type race. The horse that I would like to follow out of the meeting, well, I probably should have thought of this before I asked you the question, but Oxford Tycoon was very stiff. But that's about it. That's all I can think of, really. Oxford Tycoon for me. I'm going to follow him, especially if he turns up in a midway in the near future. But thanks for coming on the show, Luke. Have a nice night. I'm going to go off and watch the block. What are you up to tonight?
Pretty quiet, mate. I'm calling Hawkesbury tomorrow, so I'll probably get into the form and finish that off there and just take it easy, mate. There's not much we can do in lockdown at the moment, is there?
Sounds good. We'll tune in tomorrow for your best bet, and hopefully it gets home for the punters.
All right. Enjoy the block. See you guys.
Thanks, mate. Have a good night.